It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Jackie Gemelos, who is a WNBA player. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Brandon. Thanks for having me on.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play basketball on the professional level?
Yeah, so when I was younger, when I was about 7 years old, my dad and my mom took me to a Sacramento Monarchs WNBA game. That was back in like 1996 when the WNBA first started. And me and my dad were called at halftime of the game to do a competition, and I had to make 6 free throws in less than 1 minute. And if I did that, then I would receive like a money savings bond, a Sacramento Monarchs bag, a water bottle, all these cool things. And when I went out there on the floor and I stepped out on the floor and the lights were shining bright on me, it was such an amazing feeling. And I went out there and I made my 6 free throws in less than a minute. And from that moment on, I pretty much knew that that was my dream and that's where I wanted to be one day myself when I got a little bit older.
That's a pretty cool.
Thank you.
What was your experience like with USC?
I had a great career at USC, such a great school. For me, I'm a little biased, but I think it's the best university in the world. Um, yeah, I just love the diversity and everything that the Trojan family kind of represented. Um, like I said, it was an amazing time there. I spent 6 years there because I was injured. So I had an additional 2 years there, which was really fantastic. I was able to get my master's during those 6 years and I met so many incredible people along the way. Overall, my experience was wonderful, and I'm so glad that I went there.
What were some of your accomplishments during college?
Um, so I was actually injured a majority of my career. I had a lot of knee injuries when I was there. But when I actually did play, I only played in 57 games out of the 6 years that I was there, so it wasn't that many. But I did have, I was on the academic team, my fifth or sixth season. I did have like a free throw, I think, record in one single season. I hit a game-winning shot against University of Washington in my fifth season. So I had a lot of little like monumental moments, I would say, in my career. Um, and we did well. We made it to the final round of the NIT tournament. And yeah, so it was a really great experience. I had a super time.
In 2011, I saw that you went to the World University Games. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, so I was one of the 40 girls in the United States that were called to go try out for the team. And everyone knew that they were only going to bring 11 players. So it was 11 players out of the 40 that were chosen to go there. And I just remember getting back there and starting the training and getting, myself settled in and meeting the new players and having practices. I felt like I belonged there. And it was a really good feeling for me because I was playing well, my confidence was good, and I had a good feeling that I would make that team. And um, I was selected in one of those 11 players, which was incredible. We went on to Shenzhen, China, and we won a gold medal. So that was such a cool experience.
What was your experience like playing overseas and international?
Again, another really good experience for me. I love playing overseas. I played 8 seasons in Europe, 4 in Italy, 2 in Greece, 1 in Spain, and 1 in Turkey. Um, and over there, I think I really found my niche and I found my confidence. Just being able to dominate in leagues over there and do well in leagues over there, that gives you the confidence to come back to the WNBA and the American League and kind of just use that as fuel to the fire when you get back here. So I had a really good experience out there.
Can you talk about, of course, draft night and what that was like for you?
Yeah. So I was in my room all by myself. I actually didn't want to be around anyone because I was afraid that my name wasn't going to be called. So it was a very um, kind of weird experience for me because I should have been with the people that I loved that were around me, but I decided to stay locked in my room just in case it wasn't something that turned out good. But yeah, so I was called. I was the 31st overall pick, third round to the Minnesota Lynx, and that was just such a crazy, amazing experience because previous to that season, I was injured again, and that was my fifth ACL tear that I had had. So I didn't think anyone was going to be able to draft me. So the fact that I did get drafted, I felt so happy and just really grateful.
Can you talk about, of course, your time playing for the Chicago Sky?
Yeah, so in 2015 is when I made my first WNBA team, and that was a really great experience. Again, I know I've said that to everything that you've asked, but truly these are just highlights, to my career. Um, yeah, I got there and I just came from a season in Italy where I had a pretty good season and I felt like I was kind of reaching my max level at the time. And Pokey Chapman, the head coach for the Chicago Sky at the time, called my agent and said that she wanted to bring me into training camp and that she really believed in me and really saw me as someone that can make that roster. And I think just going in with that confidence and having that confidence from the coaching staff was really important and the key to my success making that team. So it was just kind of like a dream came true sort of memory that I have, and I'll forever be indebted and grateful to the Chicago Sky.
What was it like whenever you put on your first WNBA jersey?
It was breathtaking. I just remember standing out there for the national anthem and crying to myself and trying not to let anyone see me because I was so emotional, but just overfilled with joy. And, for most girls and a lot of girls, maybe it's not their dream. It's just like written in their story. And it's definitely something that's going to happen for them. But for me, it was a lot of work and trials and adversity and things that I had gone through in order to get to that point. So I think when I got there, it made it so much more special.
What did you accomplish during your time with the Olympics?
With Olympiacos, it's a club in Greece. Um, so there it was really special, and again another very great time in my career. It was my second season playing in Greece. Um, my dad is from Greece, so I'm half Greek, and we were able to get me a Greek passport, which makes me a European player when I'm playing overseas, and which makes me a Greek player when I'm playing in Greece specifically. So playing in Greece and playing for Olympiacos was very special because that's my heritage. Um, I come from a very prideful Greek family, and to be able to represent that team, the biggest club in all of Greece and that country, was just something that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
What did you accomplish during your time with the Connecticut Suns?
Yeah, so I had a very good experience there. I came into the bubble with the Connecticut Sun last season in 2020. Um, I developed a really good relationship with my teammates and my coaching staff, but unfortunately, midway through the season, it wasn't the right fit for me and for the coaching staff. They needed someone that could play a different position at that time. So when they let me go, that's when the Washington Mystics picked me up. So I switched teams in the bubble, which was super unique, but also, a lot of emotion came with that, a lot of highs and lows. But my time with both teams were great. I think I ended up on the team where I was meant to be. I got to play more on that team, and I was able to do some things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was with Connecticut. So I think everything happens for a reason, and everyone, was happy in the end.
Can you talk, of course, about what happens during the trade, like whenever you get traded from, like how you said, with the Connecticut Suns to the Washington Mystics?
Yeah. So for me, it was like I said in the last question. It was pretty unique because you're in the bubble and you're amongst all 12 teams in the league. So it's kind of like it reminds you of like a camp or something like that, like a team camp, because you're constantly walking by other teams and coaching staffs. And it was just a situation where when Connecticut had let me go, I was available in the bubble. So it made sense for Washington to pick me up immediately. So basically, 12 hours after I got cut from Connecticut, I was on the phone with Mike Tebow, the head coach with the Washington Mystics. So just a very unique situation, but also extremely amazing. And I loved my time with the Mystics and um, the relationship that I was able to build with that staff. It was really one of a kind.
What is a typical WNBA game day like?
Yeah, so there's a lot of preparation for the game. Depending on the time of the game, we usually would have a shoot around in the morning. So it's like a pre sort of practice, not really a practice. You don't exert a lot of energy because we want to have all the energy in the game, but you walk through the plays of the other team. You walk through some of the sets that you're going to run. You do some shooting, you do some drills to kind of, warm yourself up and get your body going. With Washington, they like to lift on game days. So we would do a very light lift. It was more like injury prevention kind of things. And then you go back, you have lunch, and then you've got about 3 hours before the bus leaves for the game. So whatever you like to do in that time, for me, I like to rest. I like to try and take a nap, and I personally need 2 hours for my nap in order to feel really good. So I'll shut my lights off, I'll take my nap, and I'll get ready. Usually, I like to get ready for the games and try and look good and do my hair and put a little bit of makeup on, so I'm vibrant and feeling good and looking good. And then we just get on the bus and we head to the game. Everyone's in their own zone, in their own world, preparing how they prepare for the game, and then it's game time.
How has playing overseas helped you to what you are now playing in the WNBA?
It's helped me tremendously. I think that the game in Europe is very different than the game here in the United States. The WNBA is predicated a lot off of speed, quickness, um, athleticism and things like that, and just pure talent. There's so much talent in America. So many incredible scorers and people that can score in an array of ways. And then in Europe, things are more played with your mentality, with your mind, and they teach the game at a very young age, and they teach the team game of things, and it's not necessarily skills development, it's more team development. So I think that being able to kind of mix those two together is really beneficial, and I'm sure a lot of the girls that have played in both leagues would say the same, that it's just a very different game. It's more thought out in Europe.
What are some of the things that you have done now to help you to get to another team in the WNBA?
Just putting in a lot of work and a lot of training, a lot of hours. I think that my commitment and dedication to the game has always been what's kind of separated me and what's gotten me here. I like to say that I outwork a lot of people, and that's kind of been who I am, since I was really young. And I'm just really happy that I had two great parents that kind of instilled that in my head when I was super young. So I was able to use that for the rest of my life so far.
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know before becoming a professional basketball player?
Um, I think what basketball has really taught me is to be my true, unique self, and that's the platform that the WNBA has given us as women's basketball players. It's a different kind of league. It's not the cookie cutter kind of women's league where this general idea of beauty, is that, but it's different. Our idea of beauty is being who we are, staying true to ourselves. A lot of us are tomboys. A lot of us grew up as little tomboys, and playing with the guys, playing in the dirt, playing in the mud, always being outside, always being around, boys, because a lot of boys play basketball. So I think that our definition of beauty and just what we exemplify is just so special and unique. So I think that this game has taught me to be that, my unique self.
What advice would you give upcoming college basketball women, or even women in general looking to play professional basketball?
My advice would just to be to never do the work that you're supposed to do. Just never to only do the work that you're supposed to do, but to do more than what you're supposed to do. That's what separates the professional athletes from the collegiate athletes, from the collegiate athletes from the high school athletes. Always put in more work and always dedicate yourself to the game. If you have a passion for the game, just put in that effort, because it's going to go a long way.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
The best platform for me is my Instagram. It's Jackie23, Jacki 23. And then my Twitter account is Jackie_23. Those are my two platforms that I really like to, put a lot of my stuff on.
Thank you again, Jackie, for your interview, and best of luck in this upcoming season with the WNBA.
Thank you so much, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brand, and then you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Jackie, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.